You're deep in a 4,000-year-old tomb. Your flashlight flickers across the darkness, and there it is, a mummy's jaw, snapped and twisted like brittle wood. Ever wonder why the gods of Egypt crumbled? Why their golden dynasties rotted from the inside out? Welcome to a tale of ambition, ritual, and royal bloodlines folded one too many times. The pharaohs believed they were divine, untouchable, but a quiet, genetic whisper could have changed everything. Before we dive deeper into this story, if you enjoy these journeys into the strange and forgotten, subscribe so you don't miss our upcoming cozy history mysteries. Comment below on which mysterious topics you'd like to see and where you're watching from. Now, step with me through the palace gates and into the rules, rituals, and secret burdens that pushed royal women to the edge and sometimes into open rebellion. Let's begin. Rewind to 3000 BCE, when Egypt's pharaohs decided they were too divine for mortal blood. These weren't just kings, they were Re-as living avatars, their veins supposedly pulsing with godly fire. Their plan? Marry their sisters to keep Mat, the cosmic order, intact. Sounds romantic? Nah, it's like locking your DNA in a blender and hitting puree. They craved divine power, but inbreeding turned their blood toxic. Therefore, their kids paid a brutal price. Take Menes, Egypt's first big-shot pharaoh. His goal's clear: unite the two lands and cement his god-king status. The priests hiss. Mixing blood with commoners will flood the Nile with chaos. So Menes weds his sister, thinking it's Mat's will. My blood must stay pure, he declares, eyes gleaming. But his son's born with a crooked jaw. Therefore whispers of a curse ripple through the palace. Menes pushes forward, marrying another sister. But his next kid's got a limp. Therefore he mutters, "Is this my sin?" The priests spin it. "A divine mark, my lord." The psychology's a gut punch. Pharaohs were raised believing their blood was sacred, untouchable. Mixing it with the farmers? Like tossing mud in a golden chalice. Mat wasn't just a goddess, she was a cosmic guillotine, threatening chaos if they strayed. The priests? Puppet masters pulling strings to keep power in the family? Mat demands another sister bride. They chant, smirking behind their scrolls. Every frail baby was called a godly sign, but the royal nursery was turning into a genetic graveyard. Therefore, the stage was set for a dynasty-destroying disaster. Fast forward to 1353, beat Akhenaten, the pharaoh who turned family first into a genetic horror flick. Picture a guy with a skull stretched like dough, hips wider than a pyramid's base, and, breasts. He's a walking DNA plot twist. His goal? Ditch Egypt's pantheon for one sun god, Aten. I'll show them true divinity, he vows, but the priests, clutching their Anabias statues, plot his downfall. Therefore tension crackles in the palace. Akhenaten's next move is wild. He orders artists to paint him raw, no godly glow. "Show my truth," he barks, but the public gawks at his alien-like head and frail frame. Therefore whispers of heresy explode. His court's a maze of side-eyes, servants dodging his warped reflection in bronze mirrors. He thinks, Aten, why curse me with this form? Meanwhile, a strange amulet circulates in court, etched with new blood saves. Nobody speaks of it, but it's a bomb waiting to blow. Akhenaten doubles down, planning to move to Amarna, a desert haven to escape the priests. Aten will protect us, he proclaims, but the priests sabotage supplies spoiled grain. Missing workers, therefore the move is a nightmare. His wife, Nefertiti, mirrors his elongated skull, her beauty more propaganda than truth. Their kids? Carbon copies of the same genetic glitch. The priests swear, Aten blesses your line, but a daughter's tiny mummy is buried that night, her skull too long for the coffin. Therefore Akhenaten's faith cracks. Why do my children die? He whispers, voice breaking. The psychological toll's a slow poison. Imagine being a god king, but your body screams mortal failure. Akhenaten's trapped in a mental cage. Truth versus the divine lie. His kids grow up isolated, no friends, just siblings reflecting their own warped features. The palace is a funhouse of distorted mirrors, artists scrambling to paint deformity as divinity. But the truth seeps through every cracked statue. Therefore the court hums with dread. Here's the kicker. Akhenaten's courtiers, sick of burying royal babies, stage a secret rebellion. They hide a charred scroll scrawled with a plea, foreign blood can save us. But the priests uncover it. Therefore they spill a rebel's child's blood to purify Mat. No one defies the gods. A priest snarls, torching the scroll. Akhenaten finds out, heart pounding. New blood could save my son. He gasps. He tries to push the plan, but the priests tighten their grip. Therefore his dream dies. Amarna becomes a desert trap, not a haven. Akhenaten's feverish dying. His last words a broken plea to Aten. Spare my son this curse. His revolutions crushed, his city's dust, his name erased. But a blood-stained secret buried with him could have changed his son's fate or doomed Egypt forever. What was it? You'll find out. If this genetic catastrophe left you speechless, smash that like button. Comment below. Which priestly lie hit you hardest? Where a boy king's desperate fight and a blood-soaked secret will blow your mind. Don't miss it. You're watching a boy king limp to his golden throne, his cane clattering like a death knell. Ever wonder how a god king could be so broken? Welcome back to Egypt's genetic nightmare, where pharaohs knotted their DNA into a deadly trap. Akhenaten's blood-soaked secret failed his son, but a hidden rebellion could have changed everything. Ready to uncover a tragedy that'll break your heart? Let's dive in. Last time we left Akhenaten's dream in ashes, his plea to save his son buried in a charred scroll. Enter Tutankhamun, born 1341 BCE. A kid dealt the worst genetic hand in history. Picture a 9-year-old pharaoh, worshipped as Re-as heir, but his body's a prison clubfoot twisting his steps, spine curving like a cruel question mark. Mat, the cosmic order, demanded he keep the bloodline pure. Therefore his suffering was called divine. Tut's goal? Look strong for his people. He grips his cane, muttering, I'll be the god they need. But every step's a wince, therefore servants prop him up like a puppet. Priests chant, Mat blesses your strength. But his sister wife Antes-Namun miscarries, her tiny mummy hidden in a secret vault. Therefore Tut whispers, why can't I give her a child? He pushes on, leading a festival to prove his divinity. But his chest wheezes in the desert heat. Therefore he collapses, priests scrambling to hide it. Is Matt cursing me? He gasps. The psychology's brutal. Tut's raised to believe he's a god, but his mirror screams mortal failure. Matt wasn't just order, it was a cosmic cage, threatening chaos if he broke tradition. Priests, those puppet masters, hiss. Another sister bride for Matt's sake. Every miscarriage, every limp, is spun as divine will. But the palace nursery's a graveyard. Therefore Tut's trapped in a lie, his heart breaking under the weight of a golden crown. Fast forward to 323 BCE, Alexander the Great's empire shatters, and his general Ptolemy snags Egypt like it's the last Nile fish. These Macedonian Greeks see Egypt's sibling marriage tradition and think, genius, let's do it. But it's a genetic death spiral. Therefore their dynasty becomes a twisted experiment. By 69 BCE, Cleopatra's born into a family tree so knotted, it's practically a pretzel. Our blood is divine, her father boasts, but her siblings look like warped reflections. Therefore, she thinks, can I outsmart my blood? Cleopatra's goal? Survive and save her dynasty. She learns 9 languages, charming Romans like a snake charmer. But her body likely bears the Ptolemaic curse-wonky jaw. Frail frame, therefore, courtiers spread myths of her legendary beauty. A Roman envoy gifts her a mirror, smirking, for Egypt's goddess. It's a subtle taunt, but she ignores it, plotting alliances with Julius Caesar. Rome will be my lifeline, she snarls. But her siblings scheme to steal her throne. Therefore she outwits them, securing Caesar's favor. Her kids with Caesar and later Mark Antony are healthy, a genetic jackpot. My blood's redeemed, she declares. But Octavian, Rome's rising star, eyes her children as threats. Therefore he plots their doom. The mirror, that Roman gift, haunts her later, revealed as a jab at her lineage's flaws. The psychological toll's a nightmare. Cleopatra's raised knowing her siblings are her spouses, her playmates, her jailers. Matt demands purity, but her core value legacy clashes with survival. My mind is my crown, she thinks, navigating a palace where love is a political trap. The Ptolemy's court is a snake pit. Priests predict, your beauty will save Egypt. But it's her brain, not her face, that keeps her alive. Therefore she outsmarts rivals. But Rome's closing in. Therefore her kid's fate hangs by a thread. The nursery's no longer just a graveyard, it's a battlefield. Each stillborn child a blow to her hope. Here's the gut punch. Tutankhamun, desperate to break the curse, planned to marry a Hittite princess, defying Maat. A secret letter hidden in his tomb, begged for foreign blood. Save my line, he scrawled. But priests poisoned him, staging his death as malaria. Therefore his rebellion died with him. Maat's wrath. They hissed, burning the letter. Cleopatra finds a copy centuries later, her heart racing. He tried to save us, she whispers. She mirrors his defiance, birthing healthy kids with Romans. But Octavian slaughters them. Therefore her dream crumbles. Cleopatra's final act? A snakebite in 30 BCE, not just suicide but defiance. Rome won't chain my blood, she snarls, venom burning. Her death ends a 250-year genetic experiment. Her legacy a whisper in the sand. But Tut's letter, buried for millennia, held a truth that could have saved Egypt or broken it forever. Want more epic history? Stick with us. If this tragedy broke your heart, smash that like button. Comment, would you defy tradition like Cleopatra? Subscribe for more wild dives into history's darkest corners. Don't miss what's next.